Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Carolina.
There's a lot of talk about superhero fatigue these days in the industry. So I wanted to ask you if do you think that audiences are starting to get tired of superhero films and TV shows? And what does this new movie bring to the table to overcome this fatigue?
Anytime a genre has been pervasive, it requires it to innovate to stay relevant. And, I don't want to speak too much about superhero fatigue per se, because I think at the end of the day, what's as important is telling a great story. And as long as you tell a great story, I think your movie has the potential to connect with an audience. And in this film in particular, I felt we had an opportunity to tell a really great story and, introduce a new Captain America to the world and Sam Wilson, lean into what is special about him, this incredible empathy as a superpower that he has, and also do some things from a filmmaking standpoint that feel like they honor the movies that came in the past, but their own distinct, unique things for this movie. And Marvel was so supportive of that. From the way the action was shot with a very controlled camera, the whole way the movie was shot with a controlled camera, to leaning into certain cinematic techniques, bringing in grain and gate weave and halation. The whole look of the film had a more classical celluloid look to it. So these were all things that when we look at the genre of a paranoid and political thriller was really important to me and was a chance to give this movie a freshness because we have this fresh new Captain America. So at the end of the day, I think it's about telling a great story and trying to make a great movie, and I'm so proud of the film that we have.
So in this movie, we have a newly elected United States president who takes very drastic measures and ultimately he turns into a monster. So it's really hard not to draw parallels between real life. So I want to know your take on this.
Well, look, this is a story that we've been developing for quite some time, and going back to the publishing, right, and going back to the introduction of Ross in this universe in 2008 with Incredible Hulk, these were all things that precede this moment. We are telling this story because we're excited about telling a new story about Captain America and Sam Wilson. So at the end of the day, it's what is the really exciting, powerful, emotionally resonant story we can tell that leans into the themes that are important to us. And especially for me as a filmmaker, this theme of empathy was incredibly important. It's a theme that regardless of when this movie comes out is evergreen, is always important, the notion of shared humanity. And I think it's something that is so great about the destination of Sam Wilson's journey in this film and also how he relates with Thaddeus Ross. So at the end of the day, it was about making this movie, and everything else, I think, is something I'm just so excited for audiences to bring their own thoughts and feelings to.
So I also wanted to ask you, because recently Anthony faced what I think was really unfair criticism over what he said about what Captain America embodies and his values. So I would like to know your take on this, on his comments, and also I wanted to ask you, what does Captain America represent for you as a character?
Look, we're having a great conversation right now, and sometimes when you speak, words might land a little bit differently than one expects. But I think if you look really closely at what Anthony said, the substance of it, the spirit of it, was about celebrating these ideals that are universal, that are powerfully American ideals, but are powerfully human ideals. Ideals of justice, ideals of integrity. But again, coming back to that theme of empathy and looking for the good in each other, our shared humanity, that is what makes Captain America so resonant, and it's something that Anthony is a proud American, so am I, and anybody who believes in this character and these themes will also be able to resonate with that in the film. This character has been around for 81 years as well, too, and he's been embraced across the world because these ideals are bigger than just, this character. It's something that everybody around the world can embrace. And I think for anybody who might have a doubt or a question about that, come see the movie, because I think when you go on the ride of this movie and see where it ends thematically, it'll be something that's assuring and inspiring. So the best answer to the question is coming to see this movie, because at the end of the day, I think it's a patriotic film, but it's also a universal film.
And my last question, I think big franchises like Marvel or Star Wars are not always, but sometimes they have very toxic fandom. So I wanted to know, how do you deal with that? How do you face that as a creator?
look, you know, what you want when you're telling a story and making a movie is passion. What you want is to be able to communicate with an audience. And the fans of this franchise and the MCU have invested so much in these characters and so much in these stories. So I have nothing but respect for these people. And I always just want to make sure I'm bringing the best as a filmmaker and supporting the incredible team of actors and technicians and artists on this. And that's what we did with this film. At the end of the day, when you make a film, it belongs to the audience once it gets out there in the world. So that's the gift that I want to give to an audience, and I'm just so grateful that people are invested in this franchise and this story and this character.
Great, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It was nice meeting you.
Really nice to meet you too.
Bye, thank you.